We need to put a cap on the outrageous rates that are being charged by credit card companies, some of which receive billions of dollars in taxpayer-funded bailouts. And we need to control these bailouts when we help out a company like General Motors. Last year, the taxpayers bailed out General Motors to the tune of $57 billion. And now that General Motors is a little bit profitable, they took $500 million to develop a new engine. But guess where they are going to do that? It's not going to be in North Tarrytown, where they used to have a factory, but it's going to be in northern Mexico, where they're going to give jobs to about 500 Mexicans. If we had people in Congress who had the least bit of common sense, they would stipulate in that bailout that once that company became profitable, those jobs would be given to American workers. But Nita Lowey just doesn't seem to be on the ball. She's voted against immigration control and in favor of affirmative action. Illegal immigration is a growing problem in our communities. Free education for illegal alien children is overcrowding many school systems, requiring special language classes, increasing our school taxes. If I'm elected, I will see to it that illegal aliens who are convicted of crimes are deported immediately upon the completion of their sentences and not released back into our neighborhoods. I myself founded Westchester Rockland Citizens for Immigration Control after the brutal murder of Mary Nagel in New City by a man who had previously been arrested, and they knew he was an illegal alien. He was arrested for a violent crime against another woman, but they let him go. We cannot tolerate that. Affirmative action plans in businesses and colleges would provide unfair advantages for some, while penalizing others must be abolished. When hiring and promotions in police and fire departments are not based solely on merit, our public safety is placed at risk. Ladies and gentlemen, we can and will win this election. According to a recent Rasmussen poll, most voters continue to believe it would be better for the country if the majority of Congress is thrown out this November. But we cannot be complacent. We have a tough fight on our hands in the next 2 weeks. But I know if we work together, we will be victorious on November 2nd. Thank you.
I'm going to, if nobody has any objections, indulge in a moderator's privilege and ask the first question. What, if any, plans do you have to moderate and control the EPA?
Well, I think especially at a time like this when the economy is in such dire straits, we can't allow excessive rules and regulations to interfere with energy programs that we're trying to get us on a sound footing. We have to allow drilling offshore to provide us the energy that we need at this time. So some of the goals of the EPA, which might be high-minded and noble in times of economic certainty, especially at times like this, should be curtailed.
Thank you. Is any? Yes.
Yeah. You know, there was a quote with the gentleman and what you want Westchester Republican Party were taken off of the party because it confirmed that you wrote anti-Semitic and racist writings in the newspapers and publications in the past.
Yes.
Would you like to answer that?
Well, I've tried to respond to that a few times, but of course the newspapers don't seem to want to give me opportunity to do so. What happens, I guess, having been a professor and an author, I've written several books and articles, and Nita Lowey's team evidently went through every page that I've written, and they found a few sentences that they decided to misinterpret and to try and focus on to portray me as someone I'm not. I'm using the term racist, for example, and because they took this term, which really means an assertion of superiority of one race over another, or in common popular talk, it might mean some type of animosity towards another, which I certainly have never written about that, never said that. The article I wrote doesn't even deal with comparing races whatsoever. It talks about parents having more control of what their children watch and see and how they grow up in response to a media. That's, at the time I wrote that, my daughter was 14, and I thought the media was pushing a lot of trash in the kids' direction, and I felt that parents should take a strong stand. So that was taken around and misinterpreted. The chairman of the Republican Party White Plains in Westchester County, said he didn't have a chance to read the article, he knew that it was racist, and because of that statement, every other publication used the term allegedly racist. So I said to them, well, why are you, I spoke to Janine Rose at News 12, I said, why are you continuing to perpetuate something that the person who made the comment never even read the article? She said, well, we can do that because he said so. So, meanwhile, Nita Lowe is hiding behind this smoke screen, avoiding every debate whatsoever. She canceled out of 2 debates so far. She doesn't want to discuss the economic issues that confront this district. And unfortunately, the Journal News and News 12 are cooperating with her by apparently going to cancel debates as well. So that's the type of collaboration between the liberal media and the liberal candidates that we're up against.
Okay, next. Let's try the other side of the aisle for this.
Yeah, I wonder if you would expand on the question of anchor babies. We know now that they're in the millions in the U.S., and apparently it's due to a misinterpretation of the 14th Amendment, which speaks of every child born in the U.S. is automatically a U.S. citizen, if not subject to the jurisdiction, that's the phrase, subject to the jurisdiction of another country. So if a child is born here of Mexican parents, or at least one foreign parent, let's say, then that child is not subject to the jurisdiction of the U.S. And of course, it's costing us billions of dollars totally.
That is a key phrase, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And of course, the intent of the 14th Amendment certainly was nowhere was there any intent to include the children of illegal aliens as citizens. And there are over 400,000 children of illegal aliens each year that attain citizenship in that manner, which puts a tremendous burden on our whole school system, all the health and human services, and in certain cases on our penal system as well. And that can be changed, I believe, through a congressional bill. Some people think you would have to go to have a referendum on have a constitutional amendment, but I don't believe that's the case. Numerous legal scholars say that you could try to rectify this through Congress, and I would certainly be one who would be willing to pursue that goal.
Your thoughts on drilling in ANWR and shale oil from the Dakotas?
I think it's a legitimate approach to solving the energy crisis that confronts us now.
Yes.
How would you stop the major corporations from outsourcing the jobs to the other countries? What type of legislation would you do?
Well, have disincentives. In other words, take away some of the tax breaks that they enjoy right now, and penalize them if they're going to close down a factory here and relocate someplace else. There are ways to say, okay, you're not eligible for these types of tax exemptions that you now enjoy. That's one way of approaching the situation.
Judy, you raise your hand up? You have your hand up?
Yeah, I wanted to know, wasn't the 14th Amendment originally written to protect the children of slaves?
Yes, it was, and applied to illegal aliens, I think, is quite a stretch.
Right, it's been a long time since slaves gave birth.
Okay.
I wanted to follow up on the first question that the gentleman in the back asked. You said that the newspapers and the TV didn't give you an opportunity to explain yourself. I didn't hear any explanation. What was their core issue with what you have written or said, and what was the actual excuse or reason for the Republican Party in Westchester not to support you? What is your position on racism? What is your position on integration and so forth on that issue?
I'm certainly opposed to racism of all forms. They took something that I wrote in which I was talking about how hip-hop music and rap culture was being imposed on kids through the media, and I opposed that, and they said that was essentially racist, and the head of the Republican Party is the one who first said that. He hadn't even read the article, and because it was in the news, in the national news across the country, at this haven't really gotten any really big support in running against Neil Lowy, and neither has my predecessor gotten much support in running against Neil Lowy. So some people use the term rhino to describe the type of Republicans that are in certain positions of leadership. So he made a split-second decision like that, but many people within the Republican Party still support me throughout Westchester County, and I'll definitely be on the ballot in November.
Anybody else have any questions? All right, Jenny.
Yes, I'd just like to get your position and find out if you are sent to Congress that you will work to defund and ultimately work to repeal Obamacare.
Definitely. That's one of my primary positions. We can't have this type of insane government-imposed health care pushed upon us.
Thank you.
Getting back to the outsourcing, you spoke about tax relief and all that. Would you pass a bill that any company doing any work for the federal government, if they outsource one job, they lose the contract? That's the way we keep the federal government spends hundreds of billions of dollars. Why can't we keep our dollars here?
Sounds reasonable to consider.
Would it be a consideration or just something to go in the year and
Perhaps, I think it's a good idea. I can write up a bill and explore the ramifications of it, but I certainly do support something like that.
ramifications would keep jobs here?
Right. That's what we want to do.
Harry, Adrian?
Yes, it's fairly well assumed that come January, the deficit limit, the borrowing limit on us right now is at 14-point-something trillion dollars. That's going to have to increase. Or we're going to have to take some drastic steps at the federal level not to exceed our current level. Would you support not exceeding the current $14 trillion deficit limit?
Definitely, I would support limiting that and not going beyond it whatsoever.
Anybody else? Yes.
Your stance on don't ask, don't tell? Would you stand on don't ask, don't tell as far as the military goes?
I would